We've all seen Bluetooth speakers. Have you ever used one and then tried to take your phone even more than a few feet away from the speaker? I grew tired of these audio connection glitches and soon converted over our Bluetooth speaker to use the new Chromecast audio, which is fantastic. One little device lets us cast audio from anywhere in the house. But then the next problem set in. To use the Chromecast audio with the speaker required a power cable to the speaker, then another power cable to the Chromecast, then an audio cable from the Chromecast to the speaker. All of a sudden, your kitchen counter starts to look like this. Yuck. The solution? Design a speaker box with a Chromecast built in and only a single power cable, and then make it something beautiful, something that looks like a piece of furniture rather than an electronic gadget. So I set out designing something in Fusion 360 and came up with something like this. Okay, so since this is one of the more complicated projects that I'm doing and I don't want to waste material, I decided to spend some significant time trying to model this up in Fusion 360 and really try to work out a lot of the kinks in the model before I started cutting. Fusion 360 is just incredible. The fact that you can do all these different things, including the CAM and G-code generation in a free tool for hobbyists, is really, really amazing. As you can see, I can come in and model all the different components that I'm interested in. I can take the top off and look around. I went ahead and modeled the back and all of the different grooves to see how things are going to look and how they're going to fit, and that aluminum plate and the USB ports. So overall, this has been a huge help, and I think it's going to save me a lot of errors in terms of cutting out pieces that have small problems with them. Another thing that you can do is you can grab a component like, let's say, this metal plate, and then I can hit save as STL and then get an STL model that I can 3D print of that thing, which is super helpful to test out things before you actually cut. Fusion 360 not only has great CAD and CAM functionality, but it also lets you simulate all of the cuts, which is fantastic. Here you can see a simulation of the back panel CNC work. Okay, so here is one of the 3D prints from the Fusion. I just printed out a portion of the back so I could start test fitting a few things. Now of course with clearances, like this thing is really tight in here. I think some of this is due to just the fact that the plastic, as it expands and contracts and things, the tolerances are not going to be quite what you're going to get out of machining. So this is probably a little too tight, but it's probably going to be not as tight when it's machined. I'm also checking like the cables and things and where they're going to hit and trying to get them the right length. So I printed this back plate connector. It warped because I decided not to use a raft. It was my fault, but it's close enough for what I needed to do, which is just test the position of ports and things. So come in here and put this in there and kind of get a feel for where these cables are going to hit and put them through there. I noticed that this thing is not quite far enough up, and so anyway, I need to make a few adjustments. But overall, it's getting pretty close. This is why I wanted to 3D print this first before I get things, before I start cutting things. plug in this power here. That should send power to this board and to this, which should be getting power now. And now we can plug in our Chromecast to here. Let's see if we get power. We do. It's booting up. Then instead of plugging the Chromecast straight into here, we should better plug the Chromecast into our board. And let's boot it up like that. And go ahead and let's send some music to it and see what it says. Oh, so we need to hook up our speaker here. Negative, so one with the white stripe. So if we just touch these temporarily.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. Just testing this out. Is it going?
Yeah. It's not.
With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room with.
A lot of noise. Hopefully that's from this loose connection.
That Chromecast had a lot of noise even when we played it more.
Yeah, but it didn't have a lot of noises a second ago.
Oh.
I think it's just because this isn't screwed down.
Mm.
Okay. As you could probably hear, the noise was really unacceptable. After some research, it looks like it was due to ground loops with that 5-volt DC to DC converter I was using. Everything I read suggested that I needed to switch to an isolated DC to DC converter. I did that using the converter pictured here, and the noise improved immensely. It is now very hard to hear any noise at all. Now I could start removing the components and work on finishing the box.